next video is candidate for Governor Villaraigosa.
I want to thank you for caring enough about this state and the next election for governor to be here. So it's an honor. Thank you very much. I'd be honored to have your support. But let me tell you why I'm running. This state's given me more than I could have ever imagined. I grew up in a home of domestic violence and alcoholism with a mom who struggled to make ends meet and raised 4 kids on their own. America and the California dream have given me more than I could have ever imagined. But let's be honest, everybody. There are big challenges faced in this state. The challenge of homelessness, the challenge of the cuts with the big ugly bill on Medi-Cal in covered California, the challenge of high rent and high home prices. People can't afford this state, and the next governor's going to have to focus on affordability. I've got a record of doing that. I balanced 2 budgets with a Republican and a Democratic governor, and I had a surplus both times. I'm the author of Healthy Families, the largest expansion of health care. Millions of kids got health care as a result. I'm the author of the Carl Moyer program, the biggest effort to clean up the air since the Clean Air Act until AB 32 and SB 32. When I was mayor, LA was one of the most violent big cities in the country. By the time I was done, it was one of the safest big cities in the country, a 48% drop in violent crime. 1 out of 3 schools were failing. By the time I left, it was 1 out of 10, a 60% increase in the graduation rate. I have a record as a fighter for climate change. #1 American city in reducing greenhouse gases, #5 in the world. And finally, built more infrastructure than anybody in the United States. In fact, 25% of the cranes in the United States were in LA at that time. So we need a proven problem solver, someone who's going to focus on affordability, on the fact that we have the highest gas prices, and we have the highest gas prices because we've made it impossible to produce fuel in California, impossible for refineries to exist. We have the second highest home prices, have gone up 60%, and the highest rent and home prices in the United States. We can do better than that. We need somebody that's going to roll up their sleeves, unite us to focus us on doing right by affordability. But at the same time, we need someone who will take on Donald Trump. So I have a nice plan that will say, in this state, you got to observe the rule of law. There will be an investigation when somebody's killed on the streets of California. We can oversee detention centers and make sure they're humane. I want to be your governor. My name is Antonio Villaraigosa. I'd be honored to have your support.
The next video is of our representative in Congress in District 47. We're District 47, right?
What's up, Laguna Woods Democratic Club? It's so exciting to me that I'm potentially have the possibility of representing you all again. I'm sorry I can't be there. We're there with you tonight. I'm in Washington, D.C., as we are in session at the moment. But very excited about the new maps, very excited about reacclimating myself to Laguna Woods. And as many of you know, I love visiting there. I've been there many times, even though I haven't represented you over the last 2 years. And what a 14 months has been. As you know, it's my first term in Congress, the longest 14 months of my life. And if you've been following, I've taken the lead on a lot of important efforts in standing up to Donald Trump because as a former law professor, as someone who cares about the rule of law, I know that right now we are fighting for the heart and soul of our country. And as the child of Korean immigrants, my parents came to this country in 1970 in search of the American dream. They had grown up during the Korean War and its aftermath. And they came here because of the values that America has always stood for. Values like diversity and inclusion and immigration, values like economic opportunity, and a rule of law that applies the same to everyone. And those are the values, along with democracy, that are under attack right now from the Trump administration. So very early on last year, I made a conscious decision to stand up to the Trump administration, and it's been quite a ride since then. So whether it's was standing up to Elon Musk's illegal impoundments, to the illegal settlements that Donald Trump was negotiating with law firms and private companies and universities, and trying to stop those. And in some cases, we were successful in that. Whether it was in standing up to ICE and going out and calling out the abuses, the illegal assaults on Americans that were happening by ICE agents, and on and on and on. I have been leading the charge in a lot of different ways. And look, I'm not here to recap everything that we've been up to. You can follow me on social media if you're interested, but know that we'll continue fighting for you, for the values that make Orange County and America such a special place to live in. Thank you so much, Laguna Woods Democrats, and look forward to seeing you all in person soon.
And our last video is candidate for Insurance Commissioner Patrick Wolf.
Hi, I'm Patrick Wolf, and I'm running for Insurance Commissioner. I'm excited to be running for Insurance Commissioner because this is a role where you can really make a big difference in people's lives. I'm a lifelong Democrat with 25 years of professional experience in insurance and financial analysis. I want to use that expertise to make things better for the people of California. One of the most important issues I hear everywhere is insurance companies are pulling out of the state, limiting coverage. Homeowners can't get insurance. Businesses are struggling, people feel exposed and vulnerable, plus in some cases premiums are going through the roof. We need to dramatically increase choice and competition. Insurance needs to be easily available again, and people need companies competing for their business so pricing is fair and reasonable. And at the same time, it's incredibly important to hold insurance companies accountable, to empower customers. One of my policy proposals I feel most strongly about is giving every single customer an easy-to-understand report card that tells you how each insurance company's behaved when paying their claims. There's a big difference between different insurance companies. Some do the right things, and some don't. But customers don't know which do what, so the bad actors get to hide their bad behavior. Believe it or not, the information to make that report card already exists. It's collected by the Department of Insurance each year in what's called their Market Conduct Annual Surveys. But the insurance industry has lobbied for years to keep that data anonymous at the company level. I'm the only candidate for this job who even knew that data existed. I'm going to make that data public, empower customers. That's exactly the sort of thing a good regulator should do. This is the kind of problem solving that really excites me. I think the thing that makes me different from the other insurance commissioner candidates is I'm actually qualified to be insurance commissioner. I will be fiercely independent of outside influence. My campaign does not and never will take any money from insurance companies. As I already said, I won't run for any other elected office after being elected insurance commissioner, so I won't be afraid to make hard decisions to fix our crisis and make insurance work for people. And while the current commissioner and some of my competitors have a history of accepting corporate gifts, I'm never going to do that. Look, I think we need a smart, qualified, independent fighter in the role of insurance commissioner, and I want to be that for you. My name is Patrick Wolf, and if elected insurance commissioner, I'll be a wolf on your side.
Okay. So for our candidates who are here in person, here's how we're going to work this. We're going to give them 2.5 minutes each for an opening statement. They will come up to the podium, take the mic, give their opening statement, and then our moderator, our secretary, Mickey Nozaki, she's here. I'm looking all over for you. You're right there. We'll ask them 2 questions, and they will be given a minute to answer each of the questions. We have a very vicious timekeeper over here, Alan Feldman. I think he bites. At least he throws things, I know that. So we'll do opening statements, we'll do 2 questions, and then after everyone has had a chance, they'll come back and give a closing statement for 1.5 minutes. Sound good? And I'm not Chris Cluey. He's 2 inches taller than I am.
This is Chris Cluey, our candidate for Assembly District 72. Your opening statement, please.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know a lot of you have seen me talk already, so hopefully you can sit through another one of these. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Cluey. I am running for Assembly District 72, and I was born in Philadelphia, but actually grew up in Southern California because my parents moved there when I was about 6 months old. So grew up in Seal Beach, currently live in Huntington Beach, both of which are in the district, and went to public school all through my life, up through high school into college, went to UCLA, got a double major in poli-sci and history. Then I played in the NFL for 8 years for the Minnesota Vikings. And first came to some national notoriety when I spoke out to defend LGBTQ rights when I was with the Vikings. And ended up losing my job for that, which kind of sucked. But, sometimes it costs something to do the right thing. And then I was a stay-at-home dad. I was really happy being a stay-at-home dad. And then our city council in Huntington Beach, to put it bluntly, went insane, started attacking our public libraries. And then you might know me more recently for protesting the MAGA plaque that our city council was going to put on our public library. I got arrested for that one, and it went all across the internet. So I guess for me, the reason why I'm running for Assembly District 72 is because I believe that we should have a representative that represents everyone, regardless of whether or not you vote for me, regardless of whether or not you even agree with me. My job, if elected, is to represent you, to make sure that everyone in the district has someone that listens to them and takes their viewpoints into account. And I don't think that my opponents are willing to do that. And the other job that your representative needs to do is to be willing to fight for you. And I think that that's something that I have shown throughout my actions, throughout my history, is that even if it comes at personal cost to myself, I am going to stand up and do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. And we need more of that in our government. We need more of that in our elected officials. So I'm going to close it up because I actually don't like talking too much. And I will open it up for the moderator questions now.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that statement. All right. Your first question, Chris. Please share with us 2 bills that you would propose and why would those be your priorities?
Okay. So first bill would be responsible regulation of AI, because right now it's getting shoved into all our workforces, all our public schools. AI already has a body count. We need to make sure that anything that has a body count gets regulated. That's why regulations exist. If your product kills people, it needs to be regulated. And we're also seeing AIs in a bubble. That bubble's going to burst. And these companies, they want to become too big to fail. They want to get bailed out by us, the taxpayers. And we have to be able to say, no, you made your bet on capitalism and you lost. So sorry, sucks for you. Second big bill, dealing with affordability. I would love to see a lot more affordable housing built because we're missing a lot of mid-range housing, stuff like townhomes, duplexes, condos, things that kind of fill the gap, right, between a single family home and high-density apartments. So we need to build more of that. And I know we've made strides in that direction, but if it's not going far enough, then we need to do more. So those would be the 2.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right, second question. How would you reach out to minorities, including legal immigrants who are eligible to vote but don't vote?
Okay, so on that one, I would say I've always been willing to stand up for other people. I've stood up for the LGBTQ plus community. I've been willing to speak out on behalf of other minority communities. When I was in Minnesota, the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, that's the Native American band there, did some events for them. And for me, I believe that everyone deserves the same opportunities I got. I had the chance to live the American dream. Like I grew up, my parents were able to provide for me. I got to chase my dreams and I was able to succeed. Everyone deserves that opportunity, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you look like, regardless of your ethnicity, your religious beliefs, your sexuality. You deserve the chance to pursue the American dream. And so for me, that means everyone, including immigrants, right? This country was built off of immigrants. This country is better when we have immigration, and we need to embrace that. That's what makes us great as Americans. And so, yeah, I will always stand up for someone who is getting, punched down on, because I would want someone to stand up for me. It's really that simple.
Thank you. All right. So thank you. Okay, I would like to introduce and ask Nichelle Henderson to come up to the podium, please. Nichelle's running for Superintendent of Public Instruction. Your opening statement, please. Yes,
Thank you. Good late afternoon, early evening, Democrats. I'm Nichelle Henderson. I am a boots on the ground classroom teacher. Former sixth grade math and science teacher, I currently work with a teacher credentialing program called Cal State Teach that is funded through the California State University system, housed at Fresno State, where I work with new and pre-service teachers working towards their multiple subjects teaching credentials, so folks that want to teach TK through sixth grade. I am not a product of public schools. I am a public school mom. My siblings went to public school. I went to public school for 2 years of my life. And what I know is that our public schools have created greatness. And over the several decades, we have failed the students going through our public schools. What I know is that teachers cannot teach when they are literally one minor emergency away from financial ruin. And students cannot learn in overcrowded classrooms. And the way that we socially promote our students and not utilize the high stakes results from test scores to better our students' academic outcomes is harmful to our students. And through the work that I've been doing for literally 30 years, I see how chronic underfunding impacts overall student achievement. As a trustee on the Los Angeles Community College Board, I work very closely with our workforce development programs and our dual enrollment programs. So the state of California allows TK through 12th grade students to attend community colleges with no tuition. Usually through College Promise programs, they get an additional 2 years of community college. And what that means is that students that are TK through 12 can enroll in dual enrollment programs at our community colleges through MOUs with their school districts and complete the first year to 2 years of college while they're in high school, which means that we're not waiting for students to graduate high school to start thinking about college. The other opportunity that allows is opportunities for workforce preparation while they're in high school. So when we notice that students are not going to necessarily graduate from high school and go right into college, they're being prepared for the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, you ready for your first question? All right. On your website, you say one of your priorities is reforming standardized testing. Please explain what you mean by that and how would you accomplish it?
I'm so glad you asked me that. So as any classroom teachers? So you know, when you have students in your class that are not functioning at their grade level, so I taught sixth grade, I have sixth grade students that were functioning at a fourth grade level. The standardized test required me to teach them sixth grade standards and for them to be assessed on sixth grade standards. So I'm being set up for failure as a teacher, but my students are being set up for failure because there is not enough time in the school day to scaffold fourth grade and fifth grade in sixth grade. And because sixth grade prepares students for 7th through 10th grade, it becomes problematic. So the way that I would fix that to reform standardized testing is to literally change the way that we test. If we're going to we give students pre-tests and we assess students throughout the school year, and we assess students based off of where they should be, which means that when we have a student in the sixth grade that's functioning at a fourth grade level, we see that. But we're also able to use that data to put supports in place to build that student's acumen in their grade level.
Thank you, Michelle. All right. Okay, your second question. Ready? Mm-hmm. Do you believe the amount of funding a school receives should be affected by how well schools do on state testing? Why or why not?
Absolutely not, because for the reasons that I just said. Funding should be based on right now funding is based on the size of the school, number of students, butts and seats versus students enrolled in the school. Funding should be based off of need because we have close to 1,000 school districts across the state, and every school within those school districts is different. And so when we fund the schools, we need to start moving away from an attendance-based funding model to one that's more enrollment-based, that provides stability, so school districts know exactly what they're getting every year, and stop this annual stress that school districts have to deal with wondering where their money is. We also need to raise the floor of Proposition 98. So since 1988, when voters, all of us, mandated that 40% of the state's revenue will be given to schools as a base of funding. We've had governors, Democratic and Republican, including this one, that has cut funding to Proposition 98. And so that is what we have to do. We have to think about how we're funding our schools.
Thank you, Claire. Everybody, thank Michelle. Jason is running for the Orange County Board of Education. Jason, your opening statement, please.
Oh, this is my mic. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. This is super exciting. I appreciate being here with all of you. You are fighters for education, public school education. And it's exciting to stand before you and ask for your vote. Some of you already know me, but I'll run down quickly who I am. I am a resident of Orange County. I am also a product of public and private school. I graduated law school in Chicago. I have a son in the district. He's in 6th grade, 12-year-old. He was just fighting me before I got here, so excuse me if I'm kind of, shaky. It was really bad. He wanted to go participate in soccer, and it's just not time for that right now. Practice is tomorrow. But anyway, so yeah, that's me. I used to go, I participated in the local school board meetings, and the local school board meetings were very, very challenging for me, to say the least. And I felt as if, though I was surrounded by strong advocates, it seemed as if we were running in circles. And so I was encouraged to run. I'd heard some things and seen some things that I couldn't believe it. Under the palm trees? You mean to tell me all of this is going on in the palm trees, behind the palm trees? And so I figured it was time to step in. And so with the support of a lot of people here, I've been encouraged to stand before you. Now, I will say I have some fighting points. There have been some questions about whether or not I can fight for public schools and or California school children. And I can. I'll reassure you of that. I come from a long line of civil rights activists in my family, and I know what it takes to fight from a legislative perspective as well as a narrative, common sense perspective. So I will fight I will fight to secure special education funding. That is huge. That's a major thorn in our side as it relates to the general fund, and which leads me to the general fund. I will fight to preserve the general fund.
Time's up.
Okay.
We don't want to get in trouble with the bad guy.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so that's it.
Jason, your first question. What prompted you to run for the Board of Education rather than taking, let's say, another route to politics?
Well, I'm not proud of this, but I've been called a helicopter dad. And so that was my initial point. That's what got me in. And then when I got in and I saw how much work that needed to be done, I saw other things. And so the local board members were violating the rights of the citizens. And so the civil rights advocate in me jumped and said, okay, not only do the children have to be defended, but their parents and the people like you have to be defended. So that's why I jumped in. And as it relates to any other position, this position was more immediate for me.
Okay, understood. All right. Your website describes a campaign priority of charter school transparency
Yes, ma'am.
and fiscal accountability.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you propose to gain more of the transparency and fiscal accountability?
Well, in law school, I had a concentration in compliance. So it was business law, and then it was also compliance. So what I found out in Orange County was that the current board has voted not to have transparency, accountability, and fairness in distributing educational services. And so I suggest that I build the relationships that are currently there. Of course, I will vote against any policy or any sort of addendum, anything that does not support fair and equitable distribution of educational services. That's my stance. I insist that we can work together, even those who are voting and working against me. I propose that relationship first.
Thank you very much, Jason.
You're welcome.
Okay, I would like to invite up to the podium Robert Mestman.
Hi, thank you so much. Just to follow up, my judicial election and also Judge Sagel's judicial election will be decided in June. So June 2nd for me and for Judge Sagel is not a primary. It is the actual election. It's one and done. So please make sure everyone gets out and vote to support us, as well as Katrina Foley and all the other candidates as well.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Okay, your opening statement, please.
Thank you. So my name is Robert Messman. I'm a 24-year career prosecutor. I'm at the Orange County District Attorney's Office. I've handled every kind of case in the office: homicides, gang crimes, sexual assault, elder abuse, fraud cases. I've risen through the ranks in the office to be a supervisor and a division chief. I supervised our sexual assault unit. I did sexual assault cases for about 5 years. Very tough cases, but probably the most rewarding work I've done as a prosecutor. Also supervised our DNA unit and started Orange County's first conviction integrity unit and supervised that. Conviction integrity unit is a very unique unit that looks back on past cases to make sure mistakes weren't made, people weren't wrongfully convicted, and also establishes best practices going forward to make sure we're using the best science and technology in our prosecution, and to make sure mistakes aren't made going forward. So it's a very unique role that most prosecutors haven't had an experience in. Was also an assistant U.S. attorney at the U.S. Attorney's Office, focusing on public corruption and civil rights violations. So I've had a wide range of experience as a prosecutor. Before I became a prosecutor, I worked in Capitol Hill. Does everyone remember Senator Alan Cranston? That was my first job out of college. Packed up my car, drove out to D.C. and landed a job there. And then I also worked for Senator Dianne Feinstein for several years. On a personal level, my father immigrated to this country when he was 30 years old from South America, knowing almost no English, went on to have a very successful professional career, raised 4 great kids. My wife is a Vietnamese refugee. She came over to the country when she was 5 months old, fleeing the fall of Saigon. Her father was a pilot in the South Vietnamese Air Force. So our family is a very diverse family, which I think is important. We need good judges who understand the diversity of Orange County. Orange County is a very diverse community, different backgrounds, cultures, languages, and I think we need judges who understand that. Very important thing for me is access to justice, making sure everyone has access to the courtroom, regardless of socioeconomic background, culture, language, immigration status. Everyone should have the same right to go into the courtroom and seek justice for whatever the issue is. Also very important is upholding the rule of law and making sure we have an independent judiciary that does the right thing without regard to outside influence. So those are very important things for me. Thank you very much. Oh, perfect.
All right. Okay, so without divulging any details, can you share a big case that was brought to a successful end and how you did it?
Yeah, well, in a 24-year career, I've had the privilege of working on a lot of interesting cases. Probably one of my more interesting cases was I prosecuted an international serial rapist. And what was unique about that case, it was the first DNA hit from Interpol using an international DNA database. So without getting into too many details, this person raped a victim here in Orange County, sexually assaulted another victim in Laguna Beach, and raped a third victim in San Diego County. And in each of those crimes, left his DNA behind. But he fled the country. As we were tracking him down, he fled to Canada. We worked with the Canadian Mounted Police to track him, and then we knew he went to Europe, and we lost him. So I'm sitting in my office one day, and I get an email from Interpol saying the DNA hit to a crime scene in Austria. Now listen, I'm a local prosecutor in Orange County. When you get an email from Interpol about a DNA hit in Austria, that's pretty unique. That's never happened to me before. Long story short, guess what crime he was accused of committing in Austria? Rape. A tiger doesn't change their stripes. So we worked with the FBI, we arrested him and extradited him, and I was able to prosecute him.
Thank you for sharing that. I don't want to get in trouble with bad cop either. Okay, a question about jury selection. Do you feel your juror candidates are representative, reflect a jury of the defendant's peers?
So it's a really good question. I think the society, Orange County, the community, we can always do better. We want a jury of a cross-section of the community. Some people don't respond to jury summons. Some people may be scared. Can you imagine if you're, especially everything going on now with ICE, maybe you're scared to go to the courtroom. People work, they have childcare issues. There have been new laws recently in the last few years to help encourage participation and make sure jurors aren't excused from sitting on jury service. So it's a very complicated question, but the short answer is we can do better, and California has laws to help make sure our juries are representative of a cross-section of the community.
Okay. All right. I would like to call to the podium Amy Stagel. She is also running for Orange County Superior Court in the 41st area. Your opening statement, please. Here's your mic.
Oh, sorry. Before you start, bad cop, I hurt my eyes. I was pulling my signs up. So if my eye is red or I'm winking at you, I'm not getting fresh, okay? Also, before you start, DDA Messman and myself, we're running for separate seats, but it's not District 41, it's Seat 41. It's countywide. DA Messman is Seat 13, separate seats. All right, I'm ready. First of all, unlike some of the other individuals running here today, the Office of Judicial Office is bipartisan, and it should be bipartisan. So I can't come here and tell you I have a platform, because my job is to look at the facts of a case and apply the law, and to not prejudge a case based on my own prejudices. Now, to build onto that, I'm a sitting judge, and so that's a little bit of the difference between Seat 13 and Seat 41. I'm a sitting judge, and I've been challenged for my seat, and I can tell you 3 E's as to why you should vote for me: endorsements, expertise, and experience. Endorsements, I really mean vetting and endorsements. It just didn't go with my theme. But I was vetted for 3 years. I applied to appointment. I applied seeking appointment by the Governor Newsom, in 2020. I didn't get this job till 2023. So it was a 3-year job interview that was the hardest of my life. And I've been vetted by a number of judges and attorneys, ones who like me, ones who don't like me, people I've appeared before, and people who have opposed me. I'm moving on to expertise. I've served on the family law panel in Orange County for over 2 years now, and I've had training and experience in doing so with divorce, domestic violence, and other cases involving family law. And third is experience. I served first in corporate litigation, then as a federal prosecutor, and finally I did a solo practice in the area of adoptions and termination of parental rights. I have a breadth of experience, and I think that's what helped me get appointed to the bench. My opponent, he is a former federal prosecutor, but he doesn't have any of the other breadth of experience I do. He also challenged my name. He took me to court saying I have to list my middle name on the ballot. My middle name is foreign. I'm from India. My family's from India. And he insisted Sheth, my middle and maiden name, must be on the ballot. Well, the judge in San Bernardino who ruled on that case said, no, she gets to choose what she puts on the ballot. She can put S for her middle initial. And so I'm thankful that most of us today, whatever you believe in, agree that a name shouldn't be used as a disadvantage to someone who's running for a seat that should be bipartisan and should be non-judgmental. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you vote for me.
All right, ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
You are a judge, so don't take offense here. Given that there have been a few cases of judges behaving badly in recent years, how can a voter tell if the judge candidate will end up committing fraud or will not recuse him or herself when there's a conflict of interest?
All right, you can't tell that in advance, but there are repercussions for doing these things. I am beholden to CJP, Commission for Judicial Performance. I can get reprimanded, I can get suspended, and I can ultimately lose my job as a judge based on my commitment to follow and violations potentially of judicial ethics. Also, what we've seen in the media on odd way is uplifting because judges are being held accountable and they are being prosecuted, they are being investigated for crimes just like other people. So I wouldn't want it any other way. I believe that when you have a position of public trust, you have to have the responsibility associated with that trust. And we are thankfully given a lot of training on a regular basis, and these issues come up in court all the time in terms of our ethics, and I see that as one of my utmost duties and commitments to the public.
Okay, Amy, give us a little more about your background. Do you choose one court over another? What do you prefer, and does it play to your strengths?
All right, thank you. So in Orange County, when you're appointed, the presiding judge, who was Maria Hernandez at that time when I started, looks to where there's a need, and they may look to your background to see if you're a good fit. So I was told I was going to be going to family law, and that's really how it works. You're kind of told where you're going to go. I was happy to go anywhere I was needed on the panel, civil, criminal, probate, family. And ultimately, I'm happy I'm in family. My career path has taken this turn of caring about families and children. I worked in the area of sexual exploitation of minors and sex and human trafficking at the U.S. Attorney's Office. And when I did adoptions and termination of parental rights, I represented minors, birth parents, and adoptive parents. So now dealing with families day in, day out, it feels like the right assignment for me, and I'm very thankful to be there. And, you know, a lot of the issues that the politicians here are talking about when it comes to affordability and education and healthcare, these are things I see day in, day out that families who are going through divorces struggle with. And so it's really, again, my privilege and pleasure to help them make it through these difficult times. Thank you.
Chris. Chris, Chloe, once again.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for sitting through all that. Thank you to everyone who is running for something. I mean, I'm pretty sure none of us really want to be doing it, but we're doing it because it needs to be done. And that really, for me, is why I am doing this, because I saw that there was a problem. A lot of people asked me to step up and try and fix those problems. And I was like, well, you asked me to do it, so I'm going to try to do it. And, you know, we can talk about policy. We can talk about specific issues all we want. Like, we know there's certain problems that California currently faces. We know there's going to be issues that California will face in the future that we don't even know about yet. But at the end of the day, when we are choosing a representative, when we are choosing someone to be in public office, we are choosing to trust them. And we have to be able to trust our elected representatives. We have to be able to trust that even when we disagree with them, even when we don't like what they did, that they're doing it for the right reason and they're doing it to help all Americans. And so that's what I am promising you. I will never do anything to break that trust because I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. I want to be able to trust my politicians. I want to be able to trust my government. I want my government to be boring. Like, I don't want to go onto social media and be like, is the world going to end today? That's not fun for me. I want it to work. And in order to do that, I have to trust that the people who are making decisions know what they're doing and that they are going to make our government work. And so that's that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to fix problems. I'm going to try to do the very best I can, and then I'm hoping to go back to being happily retired, because I worked really hard to get there. I really don't want to be a career politician. I want to make people's lives better and then go enjoy that. So thank you, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm sure I'll see you around soon.
Michelle Henderson, can you come to the podium for your closing statement, please?
Democrats, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you this evening. I am running for this seat because I am a career teacher. I am a passionate advocate for education. I have been a Democrat my entire adult life, 40 years. I registered to vote when I was 18 years old and have not missed an election. I am considered a high propensity voter. I'm also a delegate to the LA County Democratic Party, where I serve as co-chair of credentials. And I am also a state party delegate and e-board member. And I tell you that because I'm not just a Democrat because I'm running for office. This is a bipartisan seat, nonpartisan. I run as a Democrat. I don't care if Republicans like me. I don't care if Republicans accept me. I want Democrats to know that they will have a leader in this seat. I am running because I believe in integrity, and we've had 28 superintendents of public instruction in the state of California. A handful have had a background in education. 2 that I have found have had a background of education and been successful. One was Delane Easton, the first and only woman who had a background in higher ed, and Tom Turlickson, who had a background in K-12. And we wonder why we have the problems that we have in education right now. We have people that don't know education making decisions about education. That has to stop. Regardless if we like our nice friend that's running because he's terming out of the legislature, or because we just think that this person is a nice person. I'm a very nice person, but I'm also a fighter. I'm going to stand up for California kids, and I'm going to make sure that every child is able to meet these ridiculous Common Core and state standards. I'm going to make sure that every child is able to pass that stupid standardized test, because we're going to fix it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Jason, your closing statement, please.
Yes.
Give me a second to identify you here.
Can we thank Miss Jean, please? She reminds me of Vanna White when she moves those things like that. So real quick, I need your vote. I really appreciate being here with this distinguished panel. And I am gonna fight for you. And I'm gonna fight for the children. And I am familiar with board governance. And I'm not a stranger to negotiating. And if I get your vote, you will see me in full throttle as it relates to representing and advocating for the youth as well as the community members. Thank you.
Robert, your closing statement, please.
All right, so thank you so much for being here. The fact that you're out here means you're high propensity voters, you're an informed voter, and you are going to be voting and also telling friends, families, neighbors. I have to run in a county-wide race. We're not raising millions of dollars. We're not running TV ads. We can't even afford direct mail. So it's really grassroots, telling friends and family. I've handed out material, my business cards. My kids made sure I have a QR code on the back so you can go to my website. I also, on the table, I have some door hangers, and normally I bring yard signs to these events, but I'm told yard signs aren't allowed here, but I have window signs. So please, help get out the word. I'd be honored to have your support. Spread the word, tell your friends, your neighbors about me. I am endorsed by the Democratic Party. My opponent and I both went for the Democratic Party endorsement. I won the Democratic Party endorsement with 94% of the vote. So I'm very proud about that. I also have bipartisan support. Community leaders, Congressman Lou Correa, Mike Levin, Derek Tran, Supervisor Katrina Foley, and Doug Chafee, the chair and vice chair, Assemblywoman Cotty Petrie Norris, Blanca Pacheco, lots of local mayors and city council members, school board trustees. I'm very humbled to have all the support I have. I'm backed by police and firefighters. I'm backed by crime victims groups, and I have also a lot of labor endorsement. I just got the Orange County Federation of Labor. So in terms of the support I have, it's a broad base of support across the community, Orange County community leaders, veterans as well. I've got Orange County Valor endorsement, which is very important to me as I have family who are veterans. So would really appreciate your support. Again, help spread the word through outreach, text, emailing friends and family, put a window sign up. I would really be honored to serve as your Orange County Superior Court judge. Thank you so much.
Okay, Amy, your closing statement, please.
Thank you so much. Everybody makes closing statements in my court. I don't usually have to make one. It's important that you know why I'm here and why I sought this appointment to the bench. My dad came to the United States from India in 1968. We are a family of immigrants. I now have a large extended family here in the United States that are American and that think of the United States and Southern California as home. This would not all be, none of this would be possible without our democracy and our system of government. And the fact that I went to law school and was able to successfully ascend to the bench is unbelievable and likely wouldn't happen in so many other places. So I believe that based on what my parents taught me and how I was raised, that I owe an obligation and a duty and a debt to the other people in my community in any way that I can help them. And that's how I plan on using my law degree. Ultimately, the families that appear before me are going through some of the hardest times in their life. And the court system does not make it any easier. Most of them are self-represented. So my goal is to ensure that they all have their fair day in court, that they're heard, and that a decision is made, whether it's for or against them, fairly, after having heard all of the evidence and fairly considered the law. That leads to a lot of unhappy people, as you can imagine. But my job isn't to determine a case because someone's going to be unhappy about it. It's to determine a case as fairly and equally as I can. And thank you very much for your time. You can see my endorsements on my website. I do ask that you take some materials and please spread the word. We depend on people like you, the informed and involved voters, to please let other people know that these races are going on. People don't know who to vote for judge. And so I would greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank everybody. I would first like to thank our program committee, Jean Lepowski, Joel Goldstein, and anybody else who put up with trying to put this together. Getting candidates to come to your event is like herding cats during this time because they're all running all over to everybody's event. So again, we appreciate you being here. We wish you the best. We're going to do our best to support the best candidates. And we will be sending out our members lots of information about the candidates in our weekly emails. We do a Did You Know series. So we will be elaborating on some of the offices that you don't hear much about, like the judges, like the insurance commissioners, and others.
I'm sorry?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Here, why don't you?
Okay, I just want to say, I think we forgot to mention, but Jason Sam's election is June 2nd also. That's the final election, that's the California ballot. It's a primary, it's a general election, some offices, maybe a primary, maybe a general, but his is a general election, so please don't forget to vote in the primary.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we did note that on our door hangers that will be distributed starting this Thursday. And I need to apologize to Amy for misspelling her name. I offered to give her a Sharpie to correct it, but...
Just remember, it rhymes with bagel. Bagel rhymes
Again, I thank you all for being here. Thanks so, yes.
Well, since Betty Yee dropped out, are we going to have a new thought
ballot form about governor in our group?
There are no candidates who are endorsed by the party for the governor's race. We're going to do our best to keep our eye on the polls. There are 2 debates, one tomorrow that you can view. We don't get Channel 5 anymore, so you can see it on YouTube, KTLA. And next week there's another one. Do you get my emails, my weekly emails? Okay, and it's in, the information was in Monday morning's email. So the best we can do right now is to follow them, to listen to what they have to offer. We are not, as a chartered club, allowed to endorse a candidate who is not endorsed by the party. So, again, voting is a personal decision. You're going to have to make up your mind. But we're going to hope that we can make some consensus together, because it's really important to have a Democrat on the ballot in November. We all know that, right? Okay. Anyone else have questions? Anyone else want anything else to talk about? Maureen?
Maybe there are people here that don't understand the jungle primary.
How about you talk in the microphone? Come up here.
Jungle primary.
The jungle primary? Again, that was one of our Did You Know series. The jungle primary means the top 2 candidates, regardless of party, are put on the ballot for the general election. So, in the case of the governor's race, the 2 Republican candidates are polling higher. There is a chance that there could be 2 Republicans running for governor and no Democrats. Just think about what that would do to our state. So, how about we do this? Oh, you want to be Vanna? Sure. Okay. We have some questions from the audience.
I don't know, but how did this jungle primary come about? Because California has been strongly Democratic, and now we're at risk of being kind of forced into a Republican.
Yeah, we voted for it. Yeah. The voters of California voted for the jungle primary.
And for those of you who are not listening to TV or radio, just at the time we had to leave to come over here, Virginia passed.
Well, we already
They're
announced
redistricting.
it. You were late. We already announced that. It's the early bird who gets the worm. Remember.
No, I was just going to say, I think we passed that in a ballot measure in 2010. And in theory, the open primary was supposed to make the candidates less extreme. It was supposed to bring the candidates to the middle. And I think it's worked fairly well until this year.
So next year we can put a ballot measure for ranked choice. How's that? Okay, anybody else have a comment or a question?
I do have a question. So in the event that 2 members of the same party get the most votes and go on to the general election, is it possible to have a write-in candidate and promote a write-in candidate?
I don't think so.
It can be done, but it's.
Yeah. You can? I don't know the rules for write-in. I'm sorry.
Yes, Jonathan, he knows that.
Yeah. Anyone have an answer to that question? You do? Come, give the answer. Give the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really upset that we didn't have somebody running for Orange County Department of Education. The fellow who was running was disqualified on the basis of his credentials, and I looked into it and I found that it's really hard to find somebody who is qualified to be Orange County Department of Education superintendent. But my thought was, well, why can't we find somebody and have a write-in campaign, but I've been told by people who know better than I that it's really hard. However, I did look at the rules, and the rules say that, yeah, you can have a write-in candidate. All you have to do is get like 40 signatures, and you can become an official write-in candidate. But the hard part is the campaigning. So, I mean, that's why it's not practical at this point.
We'll need more than practical. Anyone else have a question or a comment? Michelle?
This isn't a question, but for the race for superintendent, although superintendent of public instruction is a state constitutional seat, this is the one race that in June, if any candidate is able to secure 50+1, there is no general.
Yeah. And again, we will be sending you more information about what races are only in the primary and what races can be won by that 50+1. That race and the Board of Supervisors is also a 50+1 race. I'm sorry?
And the judges.
And the judges. Yeah, the judges are only. That's not a 50+1. That's an only primary, right?
It's a 50+1, but there's only 2 running for each seat. So
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Questions? Comments?
Is there a rally on the 25th?
We're not hosting a rally on the 25th. There are rallies, local rallies. You should check Mobilize. We opted not to do one, but there is. Aliso Viejo? Okay, on
Saturday. They have their regular Saturday.
okay, yeah, it's the regular Saturday in Aliso Viejo. Over in the town center, in front of the town center. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Okay, kids, I think that's a wrap. Get your rest because we're going to be busy.